Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we've got a witchy vlog. This witchy vlog was inspired by being totally overwhelmed and drained with everything going on in the world, and I just needed to cleanse and ground. I personally just felt this call for slowing down and intentional, mindful craft, authenticity. You know, I'm not casting fucking spells every day. I wanted you guys to follow me around on a totally mundane week, and then something ended up popping up that I wasn't expecting at all. This is still a practical view into what my daily practices kind of look like, and if something arises, how I approach things, just authentically me. So you're gonna see a lot of me without any makeup. So yes. Oh, and by the way, I'm wearing my glasses because the spiritual sorceress, who is a fellow YouTube creator, she commented on my last video that she enjoyed seeing my glasses, and she pointed out that not a lot of creators on YouTube in general sport their glasses, and I looked into it, and you know what? She's right. Like, there's really not a lot. The only person that came to mind was the Midwest magician. She's another fellow magical content creator. I felt like I should represent. I do want to be totally honest. I do not need my glasses for day to day. I've mentioned this before in other videos, but I only need my glasses if, you know, I want to live life a little bit more crisp, a little bit more in HD thing. If I want colors to be, you know, like vibrant and like to see lines well. But anyways, so go check out the spiritual sorceress and the Midwest magician. Both of them are amazing. I love how supportive so many witches are on this platform. So just wanted to shout you guys out. Yeah. Okay. That's it. So go forth. Bye. 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 Once I decided to start recording for a week, we got a snow day. The snow brought with it some cleansing energy that was greatly needed for myself. Snow symbolizes the cycles of life, death, and rebirth, and it reminds us to know everything must end and new life will grow. Unfortunately, by the time I got to it, it was too sparse for me to collect some snow water. So I thought today would be a good day to just kind of ground and connect with the snow and just allowing myself to slow down. Connecting to the land spirits and the spirits of nature all around you in your own backyard, to me, has been one of the most transformative practices in my mundane magical experience. I have these twin oaks that are very important to me, and this little fire pit that was already here, along with a fig tree and a pomegranate tree. And I've been spending intentional time building a relationship. These twin oaks always make me feel like there's a magical portal in my own backyard between them. My current obsession is planning where the herb garden is going to go and preparing for spring and what I'm going to grow.
I don't think it's going to come off.
One step at a time, honey. Want me to go first?
Yeah.
So we just pulled up to one of my witchy stores that we're visiting. Yarrow and Sage. It is in like South Austin. They have a lot of witchy supplies, and I just wanted to visit it because it's not one that I frequent as much as like the herb bar. So our first stop for our witchy day out was at Yarrow and Sage. I found that Yarrow and Sage had a lot of altar materials, which I thought was nice to see. It's great for beginner witches to come in and find things that they could immediately use to craft an altar. Never feel like you have to buy stuff to craft an altar, but I do think it's great to have resources locally. By far what I was most impressed with was their wide variety and array of witches' craft products. I was really in awe by the candle selection. I was also able to discover a new Texas witch that I could support, and that is Persephone's Sanctuary candles. Also, upon rewatching this, I saw that Pearl Skull Alchemy is a Austin-based candle company that they featured as well. They had an amazing witchy library. We just got done shopping at Yarrow and Sage, and I got this High Priestess, Black Currant, Lavender, Amber, Labradorite, Calendula, Pink Salt, and Hibiscus candle. Hi, honey. What you looking at? Just watching me talk to them. Okay. And it's from Persephone's Sanctuary. She or they are from Houston, Texas. So that's super fucking cool. I'm totally down to support a Texas witch. Did you know that? Did you see that it was from Houston, Texas? Yeah, me neither. Black currant and lavender. No wonder I like it. So next, we're gonna go to
Herb Bar.
the herb bar. Anyways, really quickly, Yarrow and Sage was a really, really cute location. They had a lot of plants. I think it said that you were like allowed to bring your dogs and stuff as long as you just picked up after them. It was a really cute little house in a nice little area. I know exactly where we are, so that's a plus too, because sometimes I get confused trying to get to the herb bar. The herb bar is kind of, right? The herb bar is kind of, no, you think that's easy to get to? Nah, the herb bar is like the middle of nowhere. We didn't get Dutch, honey. My honey promised me Dutch. You said after. I don't know. Let's take a poll in the comments down below. If someone says we'll do it afterwards, do you think that's a promise? So the reason for our witchy day, I guess, I'm trying to find a tarot deck. I'm not finding it. I feel like Yarrow and Sage had a lot of mass-produced decks, so I'm hoping that the herb bar will not. But yeah, so wish me luck. Hopefully we find my tarot decks. The herb bar in Austin always makes me feel like I'm entering the most magical little abode. I love the overgrown ivy. It has been that way for as long as I can remember. This was a place that was treasured by my mom and I. I remember coming here as a small girl and just being so in awe and enraptured by the magic held within this enchanted little cottage. This store supports a lot of local artists as well, so it's always fun to discover new witches. This is the store where I restock almost all of my herbal supplies. I try to purchase any of my witchcraft materials at local stores. It's a lot harder than it may sound, but I truly want to keep businesses like this in business. And then next, we decided to visit Nature's Treasures. So Nature's Treasures is another gem of a store that my whole family would enjoy going to. I remember going on trips. My dad and my mom and my brother, we would all pack up in the car. We would stop in San Marcos at Paper Bear, and then we would come to Nature's Treasures. And it was so much fun. I wanted to include the footage that I have here of this store because this location no longer exists at the time of posting this, so I want to preserve its memory. my first witchcraft wand was purchased here when I was about 11. It was a beautifully molded clay wand with a black cobra snake entwined all around the stem with crystals on either end. So we have left Nature's Treasures. They're not going out of business, I guess, but they're closing down because of the expansion of the highway, and they're like directly off the highway in Austin, basically being forced to leave these locations that they've been at for like forever. So I just wanted to get some footage of it before it closes, which is really sad. I've been going to that store since I was, I don't know, like 5 years old. On our way home now, finally. It's been a long day of witchy goodness, but I'm ready to go home. Above and beyond my most religiously practiced magical practice is brewing a potion in my kitchen. Every morning, I tend to either have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. This morning, I chose tea. This is a brew filled with valerian, ashwagandha, butterfly pea flower, mugwort, and chamomile. This combination of herbs, along with the fruity flavors, I have found to really help me expand my mind's eye and my visions during journey work and divination. Because it's caffeine free, I will sometimes have a cup of this before bed for any dream divination. The ritual of tea making is one of the most grounding practices that I ensure that I try to do at least once a day. I don't always drink coffee more than once a day, but I do drink tea multiple times throughout the day. It's small moments like these where I try to connect with the elements that I use in my daily practices. I am 50-50 earth and water with a dash of air. And I have found that brewing up an herbal potion, water and earth, is perfect for both of my dominant natures. Incorporating these slow, intentional routines allow me to connect with myself. Another practice that I do once every 2 to 3 weeks, unless I let it get out of control, which I kind of did that at the beginning of this video. They were pretty wild. I trim my bangs, and I view this very much as releasing old energies that need to be released from my body. I have intentionally not cut my hair since my mother has passed. I will be performing a ritual of cutting my hair as a releasing spell during the anniversary of her death and the new moon. So a quick little side note is I am 35, and I know that getting gray hair is like part of aging, but my parents in particular, my mom didn't get gray hair until she was like in her 40s. And this whole week, this has been something that's been very weighing on my mind, not in a bad way, but just like, it's just there. But my dad had like a full head of gray by the time he was 34. So I always kind of thought I might gray early. It's been so interesting to see my grays pop up. My bangs are absolutely unreal, you guys. Everybody's like, oh, with stress and stuff, it happens. And they're cropping up more and more. And it makes sense. It's been a very difficult time for me and my family, and then buying a house. But also, I heard that there are some people who believe that the presence of grays, especially like on the tops of your head, because that's where all of my grays are at. Like they're like all right here. And I read that in some cultures, they believe that it might be like spirits, like being near your head, your crown. And I've been doing so much more mediumship and channeling and stuff. So I just thought that was interesting. I don't know if there's anything to that, but it's been weighing on my mind. Like maybe my mom is with me and so I'm turning gray. I don't know. And I've just been doing a lot more spirit work, and that it's just funny that suddenly I just have so much gray compared to what I used to have. So Today I thought that you could join me in making a little magical oil for the Planetary Parade. Yes, I fell right there. Here I am going into my cabinet of witchery, or one of them. The one to the left is usually my cabinet of witchery. And I'm just going through my herbs that I have on hand and seeing which ones I feel drawn to and also which ones I know are in alignment with the current Planetary Parade. Once I had which herbs I was feeling and which ones I were drawn to, I verified what their planetary associations were by looking through my Book of Shadows and my mom's. I wanted to ensure that I had an herb for each planet that is participating in this parade. And once done, I put them in this jar along with my oils of choice. I also added some resins, and I've been shaking it up every day just to add some energy and motion. There will be some new planets joining the parade at a later date, so I'm keeping it on my shelf until then. I already spoke about the properties of my herbal blends with tea, but when it comes to coffee, I add my intent through the stirs of my spoon. I hold my mug on either side and imbue the brew with my intention. I will also add sugar or honey for sweetness to entice, encourage, and attract good things and gentle energy towards myself for the day. Coffee can also be used to energize and amplify magics and intent. It's also great at dispelling negativity, grounding, ancestral work and offerings. And also sometimes I enhance my coffee with some moon water or sun water. I always take time to set the intention and light the candles around me. The candles that you saw are above my altar. Those are protective barriers, and then I light them. My guides know that I'm stepping into my practice, and this is now sacred space. I'm using my tarot and oracle to uncover my secrets for the day. My themes for the day, energies of the day. I'm intuitively placing them where I feel they belong and how they're connected to one another. I'm taking time to tidy up my altar space, and that includes removing old wax from my candle snuffer. I collect my wax, and once the jar is full, I use them later on in magical workings. As I sit with my cards, I tune in with the energies around me and feel who's stepping forward. The messages I received prompted me to work with my masculine deity. I'm not showing a lot of what I work with him. He still seems to be a little bit in the shadows at this time. I showed a snippet of me working with the oil that I made in honor of him, and then now his candle. Deity work, divination, meditation, journaling, ancestral work. Those are all things that I practice daily. Here I am getting ready for my meditation, to which I have specific instructions from a different deity. Most of my meditations I don't set timers for. It's kind of what happens. This one ended up being around the 27-minute mark. And after that, I take time to journal my experience and my divinations. So I was not expecting to have something like this in my video. I'm not wearing any makeup. As you can tell, my rosacea is pretty strong. Essentially, I don't want to get too emotional because I've already cried. Basically, since moving to this house, we have developed a little squirrel friend. And we have 2 twin oaks in our backyard that kind of stand side by side. The hawk just flew by. We've had this hawk that like keeps like hanging out in our backyard. Anyways, so we have this little squirrel guy, this like fat, chunky little squirrel dude that loves our oak trees, and specifically the really, really fat oak tree. And he like sunbathes on it, and he like flattens his little belly down to the tree and like flicks his tail, and he can run up the branch and onto the top of our porch. And the porch lip is right next to my office window, my witchcraft room window. And so he will like come up to the gutters and like peer down at me while I'm in my witchcraft room and like flick his tail. For a while there, we weren't seeing him because of the hawk. We kept having this hawk in our backyard. And so we were kind of like, I think the squirrel dude is hiding out. And then the hawk kind of disappeared. We saw the squirrel guy. He was totally good, sunbathing flat on the oak tree. Today's the 3rd day. So yeah, it was like 3 days ago. We left the house to go get some groceries for the week, and everything was fine. Like everything looked normal on our driveway. And when we came back, the squirrel guy was on our driveway. But when we saw him, I just like burst into tears. I just enjoyed seeing that little squirrel every day. I mean, we've been here for 3 months, almost 4 months now, and we would see him like literally every day, and we would hear him every day just like across the roof. Honeybuns was upset too because he was like, man, I'm gonna miss that little squirrel dude. But I definitely had more like an emotional reaction, probably because of my mom. I'm probably still very sensitive. Also, our neighbor is going through some hard things, and I think she might be in hospice now, and that's kind of been triggering to see that. It was just a lot. And so anyways, Honeybuns ended up buying a shovel. We buried him, and I conducted a little death midwife ceremony for him, did a little ritual for him. Now it's 3 days later, and I'm gonna do like a closing goodbye because they say that like spirits tend to linger for about 3 days before they really come to peace with their death. That's why you try to see if you can keep your family member in the house for 3 days. And you try to work with a facility that does that. At least that's the way I was taught. Yeah, so I lit a candle for him for 3 days. And then now today I'm going to make a little concoction full of herbs that I know are conducive to saying goodbye, especially Tulsi. Tulsi basil is really, really good for attracting ferrying spirits, and it allows the soul to go where it's supposed to go. So I'm using a lot of Tulsi. I'm also using some like calming herbs that are strongly associated and commonly used in pyres and cremation. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna say some words and mark his little grave today, and I figured you guys could just watch me do it. I wasn't expecting something like this to happen during my like filming week, but it is what it is, you know.
Yeah, you know your mom is getting ready to do some witchcraft.
Here I am combining all of my favorite herbs for sending a spirit off. I add Tulsi basil again to light the path of the spirit. I add rosemary as a kind of ancestral connection that I have, protection for the deceased, and also to call in familial guides and ancestors to help the spirit. Here I'm adding a pinch of lavender for calming, soothing, you know, especially since the squirrel probably didn't pass in the calmest of ways. Calendula or marigold for my, again, ancestor work. I also added poppy seeds for the deity that I work with, the death deity that I work with. Cinnamon is also believed to be used as an incense burned on funeral pyres. One of the most magical experiences that I got to have during this specific midwifing was this black butterfly with blue tips. The masculine death deity that I work with, his sacred animal is a butterfly, and 2 of his sacred colors are black and blue. So it was pretty amazing to feel his presence there and have him aid me in my work. You also can't see it from this angle, but there were 3 butterflies that were dancing around the little grave aiding me in my work. And again, moths hold a very sacred symbolism for myself. This is the candle that I was lighting for 3 days, and this was the final burn for my little squirrel friend. Hello guys, this is the last day that I recorded. And today we are empowering some herbal oils that I made about a month ago. I do try to empower my herbal blends after they've been sitting for a little bit. I usually let them sit for about a month, and then I anoint a candle with some oil. I don't dress them with herbs. I'm not trying to get the oil too hot. I'm trying to just imbue it with a little bit of extra oomph. I write my own spell words or incantations that I end up saying over the herbs as the candle burns. I also often use sigils. Bust out some cards to try to communicate with my deities, spirit guides, and ancestors whenever I'm creating something. I always seek their guidance. And then here I am doing some ritual offerings for Hekate along with her to bless this specific herbal blend that I made during an extremely liminal time. It was like new moon, new year. One of my favorite things right now that I find myself constantly doing is making herbal blends for the different spirits and deities that I'm working with right now. I'm also looking into crafting my own sacred waters. Okay guys, so that is it. That is it for my witchy vlog. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that it did allow you to just kind of slow down. I was noticing that I was not the only creator out there posting content like this. I think a lot of people who are connected in the spiritual spheres are feeling that sense of like, whoa, let's ground, center, shield, cleanse. Highlight of the week was definitely the butterfly for me. Let me know what you guys enjoyed watching and if there's anything else you'd like to see more of. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. I really, really appreciate you. And happy Valentine's Day. I think that's when this video is gonna go up. It was meant to go up the last Friday. Give yourself some self-love. I know that sounds a little bit cliche, but do it for me, okay? I am sending you my love from me to you. Happy Valentine's Day. Bye 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 bye.